All right, guys, we are here today. It is Wednesday morning. We got manufacturing and services PMI later today. I don't know how much it's going to influence markets. Markets are down, mostly specifically from Google, Tesla, Nvidia gapping down, kind of in sympathy with all of it. Let me get this camera working. There we go. Yeah, so let me know what you guys think. We'll see what we get today. Start the stream a little bit later. Again, we don't have much going on outside of manufacturing and services PMI, but it's a big day. Everybody's watching the market right now just because, specifically, we have all this stuff going on. And so, yeah, we'll see what we get. Google reported earnings yesterday. Tesla reported earnings. They're all down. Tesla down to 225s. Come on, John, where you at? Start talking ish. I'm here. Right, listen, I'm here. But no. Yeah, so I'm going to drink my first sip of coffee. I always wait. I'm weird like this, but I always wait to sip my first sip of coffee on stream after I start the stream. It's like my reward for getting everything ready and starting the stream. So cheers to you guys. Tough coffee tastes good. Yeah, so one thing that's incredibly consistent that if you ever watch these earnings, and again, I cover every single major earnings report outside of maybe Netflix, I watch every earnings report. I cover it the next day. If we don't cover it, then we actually stream the thing live if it's big enough, like Apple, Amazon, Tesla, Google, whatever. Something that's I would say the highest edge play for earnings. This is probably the highest edge play. The highest edge play is that, okay, for Tesla, let's pull up a daily chart. All right, let's pull up a daily chart. So let's look at the last 4 months preceding this earnings report. I want to show you guys this. Let's look at the last 4 months preceding this earnings report. Tesla is up anywhere between 60 and 80% from its lows. Okay, so when something is up that much over the couple months preceding the earnings report, the likelihood that regardless of what the earnings show up as, the likelihood that it goes the opposite way is very, very high, just based off of technical extension. So this thing is up a lot over the last couple months. It's not a shock to see this thing go like this a little bit during earnings. It's not a shock. Why? Because it's up so much leading into it. If we look at Google, kind of the same thing, and Google has been pushing up huge on the year. Been pushing up huge really since 2024 started. And so where's the base extension? The base extension is on the upside. This is probably the highest edge earnings play I could in my opinion. I might be wrong. We'll see. But yeah. I use this a lot with earnings. This is something that, and the reason I'm saying this is because I talked about this yesterday before the earnings came out. One of the things I said was that Tesla, I brought up the percentages. I said Tesla's up, 60, 80%. Relative to the lows earlier this year. And what that means is that if Tesla has good results, which I do think Tesla had good results. Why do I think the results were good? I think the results were good because it had its highest revenue ever. And I think that's a good thing. They said some optimistic things about business and stuff like that. But, I think when something's up that much short term, the likelihood that it's going to pull back, regardless of what the earnings are, is very, very high, just based off of technical extension. And so what I said specifically was that if Tesla has good results, it's going to be more strict. It needs to have better results if it wants to go up. If it's just slightly good, like I would call this earnings report, then it might just go down. Same thing with Google. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, so this isn't just my AirPods. This is anywhere on my computer. Yeah, so AirPods, honestly, dude, this is kind of sketchy, bro. Okay, I'm going to tell you the truth, right? This is not just me. This is a couple different people having the same thing. Okay? So, whenever I use AirPods on a Windows device, right? Like on a Windows PC. If I try to use AirPods on a Windows PC, I get this random static noise that kicks in. I tried my wife's these are brand new AirPods. We bought these like a week ago that I've never used on this PC before. These are brand new. And so I thought the old ones may be doing it because I dropped them in coffee. These are brand freaking new AirPods. I tried these, and now these are doing the same thing as well. I'm looking this up. A lot of people are saying they have the same sound. That if they use AirPods on a Windows PC, they have the same exact issue. You know. From sounds, playback, double click on the AirPods. All right, let me see if I can fix this because this has happened a lot. Sounds. Let's see, sounds. It's weird, man. I'm trying to figure out if I can change this. Sounds, playback. AirPods. Advanced. Enable auto enhancements. Off. Alright, we're gonna see if that worked. I'm gonna turn these off and back on and see if it works. Because again, it happens, man. And again, like, look, I told the story of Netscape the other day and how Microsoft battled Netscape. I told the story of how Microsoft battled Netscape and what happened from that. Hey, what's up? What's up? Man, dude, sorry, I'm running a blank on your name. Petty. What's up, Petty? I can't remember your real name, but what's up, dude? Is it Casey? No. I'm trying to remember, dude. It's been a while. What's up, dude? Hope you're doing good. I saw one of your videos about your work truck and like building that business. It was a cool video. Anyways, let me fix the sound here. I guess the point is I wouldn't put it back past. What's up, Tank? Yeah, again, that's what I'm thinking too, Petty, you know? Like, I've never really thought about getting an Apple computer, like work computer. I heard iMacs are really good until, like, I ran into these weird problems. Casey, yeah, what's up, dude? Okay, yeah, I got your name right. What's up, man? It's been a while. Hope you're doing good. Y'all go sub to Casey's channel, you know? Are you in Google? Yeah, I'm in Google. I'm in a lot of stuff. But, like, again, you have to understand. I've been in a lot of these positions for a long time. I'm up thousands on the year still. I'm up still on my portfolio. I'm green. You know, a couple red days is not going to hurt my account like that, unfortunately. Or fortunately. Google guidance was AI everywhere. Yeah. What's up, trades, futures? Yeah, I mean, creative, listen, like, you seem to just disagree with everything I say, you know? And again, I've said this before, like, it's fine to disagree, you know? But if I check the chat log, it's literally, I could say, hey, the sky is blue, and, like, you're gonna find some article from 20 years ago about why the sky is actually green, you know? If I say, you know, again, it gets to a point where it's just exhausting trying to, like, manage you. And so cheers to you, bro, but I'm gonna put you in timeout for a little while. You know, go sit in the corner and think about what you've done, sir. Google is at 176, so Google's testing the 175 low of yesterday. But yeah, point is, I'm in all these stocks. I'm green. I'm up thousands. Me, everything is configured on Apple, and I promise it seems they make a change that forces me to spend money way too often. Sure. Right, like Sam's a good example. Sam here is a regular in the stream. He certainly disagrees with me sometimes, but it's not all the time. Like, it's not every word out of my mouth is he's looking for a way to disagree just to kind of like poke buttons. You know, like, we don't have time for that. Yeah, I mean, listen, you know, like here's the problem, all right, is that the things that I'm talking about are very subjective things. So people are going to disagree, and that's okay. You know, like, they're very subjective things. But I think you have to look at them under the lens of subjectivity, like under the lens of opinion, because acting like somebody is 100% right or wrong is not true. Like, there's so much variance that happens here. You know, like Tesla is certainly down at least a little bit on technical extension on the upside. Tesla is up again. If we look at Tesla was at, in April, Tesla was at $140 a share. It went all the way up to almost 270s. And so in that terms, like, that's pretty deep technical extension. Now, that certainly influenced this downward move from earnings, at least a little bit. You know. Yeah, and it's okay. You can disagree with my GameStop stance, Sam, and it's all good, brother. Like I said, like, it's fine to disagree. I think I deal with a lot of people that disagree with me regularly. The only people I have a problem with are ones where they are just trying to disagree. You know, like, my guess is Creative's got another account somewhere, and he is, you know, maybe he's a big bear in the market and I'm a big bull, and something I said rubbed him the wrong way. Man, I just felt like a raspy feeling in my throat. I had to go outside to take the trash out early this morning because it's been pouring down raining on my end. I hope it hasn't been bad for you guys. Truman Show, man. The Truman Show messed with my head as a kid. I think it messed with everybody's head as a kid. There was a period of time where I was really nervous that I was part of the Truman Show and that everybody was watching me. I guess the irony is I got older and now everybody watches me in the morning. So, you know, life is ironic sometimes. I got 6 shares at 350. I think he's just a perma bear for Tesla. My guess is he's one of the perma bears, you know. Yeah, my guess is he's just one of those people that, like, his way is the only way, and anybody that doesn't agree with his way is wrong, you know. And it's all good, like I said. And it's fine if he disagrees with that, like, up to a certain point. But if every single thing is just like, no, you're wrong, like, all right, you know, maybe so. But yeah, the irony of life, Raven. The irony of life. Well, we are all in the Matrix. Honestly, I always thought that theory was silly. But honestly, that movie messed with my head. That movie didn't mess with my head. There's a documentary called A Glitch in the Matrix that messed with my head. Messed with my wife's head. It's you know, the simulation theory is such an interesting theory, and it makes sense, right? Like, okay, it makes perfect sense. It can explain a lot of, like, religious references as well. Not to go too deep. And again, it's all love here, guys. But it makes sense. And the simulation theory goes, if it's likely, if it's probable that one day humans will develop technologies good enough to where they will be virtually indistinguishable from our current reality, it's actually much more, which is a very high probability that we'll one day get to that if we're not getting close to that already, right? The theory goes that it's actually a very high possibility that we are already in that simulation, and this is not base reality. You know. really interesting when you think about it. A lot of people have some really interesting stuff and good theories. I like that type of stuff. I really get into that type of stuff. Anyways. Right, exactly, Ty. There's a lot of really interesting, like, you know. Yeah, like I don't have that. I don't necessarily have anything against like pure atheists, right? But I think it's a silly stance, and I'll tell you why. It's because nobody knows. Like nobody knows what happens, like after. You know, nobody knows, and so acting like you know for sure there isn't is this like nobody knows. It's too hard. Like in a world where a lot of scientists think there's multiple dimensions and like all this crazy stuff, simulation theory and everything like that. I think it's silly to be so one-sided with everything. I think, you know, I think you have to look at both sides, you know, and you can't really just believe. Nobody can pretend they know for sure, I guess is the point. But it's an interesting conversation. I don't want to get too into this because, and I'm not the most religious person, I promise. But it's a good conversation. I think there's a lot of interesting topics there, you know. I think there's a lot of interesting theories, and I think you got to look at all of them, you know. Anyways, Tesla down at 225s, 226s. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think there's a lot of good theories. I think like the Van Daniken theory is really interesting. And if you don't know the Van Daniken theory, it's essentially that all the religious texts were talking about aliens that came from the sky. And if you read them like that, if you read them like they're a freaking science fiction novel, you know, it makes a lot of sense. Like the trumpets in Revelation sound like a missile, you know, like there's a lot of really interesting stuff. I've studied it a lot. But again, it's a conversation I don't ever veer into on this channel because, you know, it's not about the stock market. And so with that said, we're going to move to stocks. Tesla down at 226s. So again, we'll see if the things bounce. I think there's a lot of extension on the downside today, but I also think there's a lot of negative, like downside momentum and everything. I don't believe or trust anything, including myself. That's probably the right move. But no, the SPY is down to 549s. Google's all the way down to 177s. What is like? I know we had AT&T drop earnings today, and AT&T is actually gapping up. If we put AT&T up on the right side here, here's AT&T. It's actually gapping up. It did report earnings this morning, early this morning. All right, so Tesla also. Musk launched a poll this morning, or maybe this was yesterday, if Tesla should invest $5 billion US into XAI, so into basically the Twitter AI. International Paper Company. It's like Dunder Mifflin. So apparently there's an IP stock, which is called International Paper Company. It posted earnings this morning, 55-cent profit versus 41 cents expected, 498 million in rev versus net income was about 500 million, revenue 4.73 billion. So it's a big paper company. I didn't even know paper companies were still around, to be honest, but hey. Had a couple stuff. Another thing to come out today was the mortgage rate drop this morning. So the NBA 30-year mortgage rate came out at 6.82%, down a little bit from last week at 6.87% here. So again, here's 6.87. Yeah, I think you got it right the first time, Creative, where you said, I don't agree with you every day. Yeah, that's probably pretty accurate. Like, brother, listen. Again, you can stick around, okay? But if everything you disagree with, eventually you're just going to get permanently banned. Like, I appreciate you, like, you interacting with the community. I really do. Like, I'm not trying to cancel you, bro. Like, I'm not. I don't have the energy to go back and forth with somebody that is waiting to disagree with everything I say in the chat. Like, listen, I could keep going back and go over everything here. Literally everything is a disagreement, brother. I said the Cybertruck looks cool. You said the Rivian trucks looks nice compared to the ugly Cybertruck. You know, you literally weren't you the one that argued that you think if rates go down that it will make the real estate market go down? Weren't you the one that said that? Like, you literally thought that lowering rates would make the real estate market go down some, right? And again, it's all good. Like, some of these conversations are good conversations to have. I guess just a friendly warning here. If you're not too butthurt about it, just a friendly warning. Let's not disagree with everything I say. It's fine to disagree. It really is. But let's not make it every single thing, you know. That gets old and exhausting, to be honest. And I'm just trying to be honest. Anyways. Why don't you actually comment on the post statement I made about record revenue does not equal record revenue profit? I never said it did, though, Creative. Like, that's my point. Is like, I never said it did. I thought the earnings report was mixed, you know. Generally speaking, revenue is going to be more influential over stock price than EPS is. And this is just like, it's not always the case. It's definitely not like definitively always like that. But in general, yes, revenue does trump EPS in a lot of ways, especially in terms of reactions. I think, and again, it's not just this instance, though. Like, people are missing the whole point, which again is that this is incredibly consistent. If you look at the couple months preceding an earnings report and you look at how much something is up, if something's up a big amount leading into the earnings report, regardless of what the earnings are, a lot of the time the stock's going to correct a little bit from mostly profit taking from people getting baked into the earnings report and stuff like that, right? And I think we see that a lot with Tesla. You can look at Google and see a very similar thing here. Google's up a huge amount leading into this earnings report. It dropped a little bit. It did the same thing on its last earnings report back here too, if you look at it. And there's a lot of these, like Netflix. You know, Netflix correcting a little bit from its earnings report. You know, Netflix is up pretty big on the year too. And so I think a lot of stuff, I guess the overarching point I'm making here with earnings this season is that I think we're going to see an earnings season this year where even good reactions or even good reports cause negative reactions. I think that's something that we're going to see this year, and that might mean the whole market corrects a little bit, and I think that might even be necessary to a certain extent for the market to correct to the downside. Let me know if you agree with me here. I'm not saying you have to agree, but I think we might see a correction. We might see a pullback. We might see a dip from this earnings report because I think everything's up a lot this earnings season, and so it might be time to pull back a little bit, and I think a lot of people here would agree with that, you know. Crypto update Discord. Gotcha, Sam. I'll check it out. Strongly agree. Yeah. I believe the shareholders are more interested in EPS, not revenues. I mean, margins are always. I mean, you could always argue margins are more important. And again, for those that are less experienced at understanding like earnings, right? Margins are EPS. Like the earnings per share is the margins of the company, like how much profit they're bringing in versus revenue, right? And I guess that goes back to creative, where creative says, hey, well, revenue's not profit. It's like, well, yeah, EPS is profit. Revenue is revenue. Revenue is kind of like the ceiling of how much they could make. EPS is the actual margins and profit that they're making, right? But with that said, again, I'm going to go back to the original point, which is that revenue typically has a more influential effect on the stock price than EPS does. And this is very consistent. It's been like this for a long time. And I've been covering every major earnings report for years and years, and this is usually true. It's in general true. It's not always the case, though. Anyways, AT&T is up. They had earnings. You can see it on the right side. You know, the next big earnings report outside of today, I think we have a couple small ones this week. Like we have We had Tesla, Google yesterday. We had AT&T this morning. This afternoon we have Ford, Chipotle, IBM, Las Vegas Sands, and a couple other ones. And then Thursday morning we got American Airlines, RTX, Honeywell. Those are some big ones. They're not huge, but they're somewhat big. So we're definitely going to watch earnings Thursday. The problem with Thursday is that Thursday is GDP, jobless claims, and durable good orders. That's a big report. Very big report. So again, GDP, durable goods, jobless claims. The correction is coming. It just has to happen. Okay. A lot of bears think that I am just kind of always against them. And it's not true. Like, what I am is I am under the mindset of this. Number one, we don't have to crash. Number one. Like, we don't have to crash. Number two, corrections are healthy. So I'm for us correcting but not crashing. You know, what do I mean by that? Crash is like a very quick, sudden, like 20, 30%, 40% drop. A correction is just like a correction. A correction is this. You know, that's a correction. A crash is this. You know, that's the difference. And then bear market sometimes, right? Like, that's the difference between a crash and correction. I'm for this happening. And I think this is the more probable thing, that we need to correct a little bit. But I also understand that we could crash based off of the extension of AI and microchips. And so I'm somewhere in the middle there. I don't think we have to crash, though. I think a correction eventually needs to happen because we're up a lot. And I've said this before. I think one of the best things that can happen for Nvidia and other microchip stocks is that they just maintain sideways ranges and trends. Yeah, we'll cover SoFi earnings next Monday for sure. We always do. I'm in SoFi as well. We're actually slightly red on SoFi, but that's okay. Tesla lowered their prices and tried to boost sales as well with good low financing. Yeah, I mean, okay. Like, I think you got to follow the big picture with Tesla, though. Like, Tesla investing in a lot of futures for themselves as a company. I think one of the things they talked about a lot was specifically that, you know, the next few quarters after the Cybertruck, after they developed and built and produced the Cybertruck, the margins weren't going to be that good the following quarters. This is something that Elon told us 7-8 months ago. You know, I think 2 quarters ago. Maybe it was last quarter. I'm not sure which one it was. It might have been last quarter. But recently, Elon said that the following 2 quarters, he said that he thought the Cybertruck would start to positively affect margins. I think he said first quarter next year. So he didn't think that they were going to have good margins this quarter and probably the next quarter even. He thought that the Cybertruck was going to be positively impacting them the first quarter of next year, I believe is what he said. So, again, it's not a shock that the margins weren't best. They had good revenue, which is good. And so what he said was that the Cybertruck was not a good margin vehicle. That he built the Cybertruck because he thought it was cool. But that it wasn't like it was going to take a while to really genuinely start raking in money from it because it's expensive. It's a cool truck versus the price, I think. And a lot of people realize that. So, but there's such a big subjective part of this, so it's all good. Yeah, I mean, so John says Tesla doesn't look like FSD is a reality within its promised timeline. Very disappointing results. Sure, I can agree with that. And I think one of the flaws of Tesla and Musk is that they don't always follow through with their timelines. You know, like, again, they said the robotaxi event would be next month in August, very soon. Eventually pushed it back to October. With the Cybertruck, they said it would be out and making sales a year before it was out and making sales, right? So they promise things and don't actually hit them sometimes. And again, like, Musk is trying to manage a company, and that's how it goes, I think, sometimes. Nvidia 100 to 110, I don't know about that low. Maybe. I mean, it's possible. I think 110 is reasonable. What's going on with AT&T? AT&T had earnings this morning, Frost. So they had earnings this morning. So yeah, AT&T had earnings. I'm trying to find them for you. Here, hold on. Let me put them up. So AT&T posted. I see their guidance numbers. AT&T posted a whole gang of stuff. AT&T posted second quarter adjusted EPS of 57 cents. They expected 58 cents. So they missed expectations for EPS. They posted revenue of $29.8 billion versus they missed both EPS and revenue. They had good guidance though, I think. And again, this is another good example of what I'm saying here, where maybe not. AT&T's a little bit different, I guess. AT&T's, I just don't want to invest in this company right here. Like, you can see this long-term trend. AT&T is in a genuine long-term 8-year downtrend. It's been downtrending for 8 years. I just can't get behind that. I think it's way too risky. Yeah, as a project engineer, we always target aggressive timelines, but it never happens. Yeah. ETH came out with an ETF. The price is the same. What's the point? The point is that people that have stock brokers and platforms can now buy it really easily and get exposure to it without having to go to a crypto exchange, which a lot of people don't know. A lot of people understand how to use the stock market. They don't really understand how to use crypto. Crypto is a little bit different. You have to send it, buy it. You know, when you send it, buy it, do all these different stuff. It's just a different thing. I think it's actually easier to buy crypto than it is to buy stocks. But a lot of people don't, and a lot of the older generations are very used to buying stocks. And so giving them an ETF, look, it's not just crypto, right? This is every major market. Whenever anything gets an ETF, it's usually a bullish sign for that sector, right? Whether it's cannabis, microchips, crypto, Bitcoin, ETH, you know, whatever it is. When they get an ETF, it's usually a beneficial thing for them. It means that broad adoption is happening, and it's an optimistic look at that sector. If we're actually adopting it and regulating ETFs behind it, you know. We don't have AT&T in Alabama. We have Cricket Wireless. No, you got AT&T. You might not have it, but I appreciate it. You never fail to give me the best data. Hey, thanks, man. With the new emerging market, I'm sure even the second best method would do great, but I have to guess my Dow's holding Google. Yeah, I'm in Google. I like Google. Google's just a strong company. It's diversified. It makes a lot of money, good margins. It's involved in a lot of different things. Like I said, it's diversified. You know, I make a living off of YouTube and Google, so I mean, I should support their stock, and I do. I buy their stock, I hold their stock, I like their stock. I think it's a healthy company. What, penny stock is going to 50 today? I don't know. I want to file a suit against Cardano because in 21 analysts promised a $20 price per coin. And, I mean, to be fair, that was 2021, bro. Honestly, I have this really famous post about. Let me see if I can find it, dude. I think I posted it on Twitter. Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah, but AT&T just a long-term downtrend. Apple slightly red. Again, we're going to put Tesla up. Is it time to add to Tesla? I don't know. I'll probably just stay in it, not sell it, but not, you know. Yeah, we've been doing business stories every day on the stream. I hope you guys appreciate it. You guys like the business story? We did the Blockbuster story. We did the Netscape Microsoft battle, browser wars. Today we're going to do another story too. So. We did Bernie Madoff. We talked about Bernie Madoff. But yeah, AT&T has just been downtrending for 8 years. I just don't know if I like it. Speaking of Microsoft here. Microsoft at 441.10s here. 441.10s. We'll see if that holds. Tech bounce today after bounced after red earnings yesterday. This tech bounced today after red earnings yesterday. It's the poll. We're going to keep it simple, clean, easy. MySpace passed on buying Facebook for $1 million. Yeah. I mean, can you break down what should be expected to happen after TUS 30 after PMI news is out? John, would you personally buy Tesla at 200? If I'm holding it long term, yes. Short term, there's risks. Hey, John, do you think tech has corrected enough? Nvidia down from 140s to 120s. I feel like the drop, if it drops to 100, that's more than a correction. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think, I don't know. I think that, like, a lot of stuff could happen. But, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I think it depends on what earnings show up as. I think if earnings show up really bad this earnings season, we're going to get bigger corrections. But I think if not, we might have big enough of a correction to continue. What do you guys think at home? Long-term capital management. I'm talking about you wanting to sue Cardano, a decentralized crypto company, for price. Yeah, I mean, listen, you're trying to sue a crypto coin. It's not going to work. Honestly, I got a really famous thing of my mom wanting to buy Doge. Let me see if I have it. I thought I posted something about it. Oh, yeah, so here it is. So, again. Yeah, so I'm going to repost this. So look at this post. Y'all want to see it here? Hold on, let me show you. So again, a year ago, my mom sent me this message. Okay, John, what do you think of Doge? Steadily going up, 75 cents a share and going up. She linked a Tech Insider post. What was my response to her? And this was years and years ago in 2021. Doge was at its height, at the top of its power. I said, yeah, short term isn't too bad, but long term it shouldn't hold, as it is a joke crypto used to make fun of others. Oh, I see. Love you. Love you too, Mom. You know, in hindsight, I was right. It didn't hold. It ended up dropping. Where's it at now? 8 cents? So it dropped from 75 cents at the time down to 8 cents. And again, this is a very common thing. A very common thing is that a very famous saying in the stock market is that if somebody outside of the let me think of the best way to say this. So again, I'm going to go over this again. My mom, years ago in 2021, at the height of Dogecoin, said, John, what do you think of Doge steadily going up 75 cents a share and going up? Basically asking me what I thought. Again, posting a Tech Insider thing. My response to her, again, was that, yeah, short term isn't too bad, but long term it shouldn't hold, as it is a joke crypto used to make fun of others. Oh, I see. Love you. Love you too, Mom. And again, I saved her. Now Dogecoin is what, 8, 7 cents? The point of this is that if you hear about it outside of that market, like if you hear about a crypto and you don't trade crypto, if you hear about a stock and you don't trade stocks, it's probably too late. You know, that's the rule of thumb. So if you're hearing about something outside of that market, again, it's probably too late, is what it is. So, yeah. Let me know what you guys think. Maybe I'll post this again on IBM earnings after the closing bell. Nvidia to hit 135. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can trade it. It's all good. Right, if normal people outside of that sector start to talk about it, it's almost certainly too late, unfortunately, right? So, yeah. That drop on Doge when Elon went on Saturday Night Live is something that I'll never forget. Yeah, oh yeah, dude, on 420, I believe it was. On 420, Elon went on Saturday Night Live. Everybody was hyped up thinking that it was going to go up. This is kind of buy the rumor, sell the news event. And it ended up crashing down. Everybody panicked, freaked out. I remember that. I was covering it, I'm pretty sure. MSOS, ETF, cannabis ETF, maybe a good time to buy it if it breaks 8. I don't know. I'm not super optimistic about the cannabis sector. I believe cannabis should be legalized. I think anybody that doesn't is really, like, very stubborn thinking, right? I think anybody that looks at cannabis objectively understands, like, it's not about legalizing another drug on the streets, right? Caffeine's a drug. Okay, like a lot of things are drugs that people and humans consume on a regular basis that don't have that stigma behind it. Again, you need to have an even standard of legalization of what's allowed and not allowed in this country, and cannabis is objectively less harmful than alcohol. Objectively less harmful. And again, I'm going to go over this. I've gone over this a lot of times, but I'm going to go over it again. Cannabis should be legal for a couple reasons. Number one, it's objectively less harmful than alcohol. Alcohol, way more harmful, not only physically, but also to your mental state. In terms of inebriation, alcohol is much worse than cannabis. Number two, you have to have an even standard. If you're going to sell alcohol at gas stations, you know, you can't get mad at cannabis sales because cannabis is objectively less harmful than alcohol. Number three is that you always hear the gateway drug argument, right? The reason cannabis is a gateway drug is because you have to go to an illegal drug dealer to buy it, and eventually that illegal drug dealer is going to offer you some other sketchy stuff, thus making it a gateway drug. If it wasn't illegal and you could go to a dispensary to get it instead of some sketchy dude that sells other stuff, it wouldn't be a gateway drug. This is something that nobody talks about, nobody argues for, and that is absolutely why it's a gateway drug. 100% why it's a gateway drug. But nobody wants to talk about that, you know. But let me know what you guys think. I agree. If you're hearing it outside, the whales are just looking for liquidity. I don't support legalization. It can be emotionally addictive. Well, so can pets. So can German shepherds, you know. Solana. Yeah, Solana's a very volatile move. A very volatile thing. Psilocybin is arguably good for you too. I don't know. I don't know for sure. I'm just saying what studies have shown. Within reason, I think. I think a lot of stuff's okay. It's about within reason, you know. Binance still has regulatory supervision consultant inside their business auditing daily activity. Yeah. All right, AT&T started dip. Again, the SPY starting to come back down. Here's Microsoft, Tesla. We're going to put the SPY up down here. Again, there's the SPY right here at 549. So 549 is where the SPY is at. It's got this big downward range here. Let's see if it breaks out of this. Look at the sideways range it's in, man. It's in the range. I don't know if I trust buying it, though, but it's in the range. Yeah, legalize it, tax it. People are going to consume it regardless of whether it's legal or not. And so, like, you're just hurting people by keeping it illegal. It's not helping anybody. It's just hurting people. And legalize it, tax it will help everybody for the most part, you know. All right, guys. So again, here's the SPY. I gotta pull up Quant Hour. I still got Trade Evade up. I think I made money yesterday. Did I? I don't think I did. I've had a pretty bad run, I think. Yeah. So we're down slightly on our funded account. All right, guys. So again, Nvidia chopping down at the bottom here at 120s. You know, we got 121s right there. We got durable good orders and a couple other things at 830 though. So we do have durable good orders and a couple other things. I think. Or no. We don't have durable goods. We have. We got flash services PMI at 9:45 a.m. And then we have the good trades balance at 8:30. So at 8:30 we do have the. We do have something. Now, I don't know if... So look at the SPY break lows here. So we're breaking down under the range on the SPY. We're actually cracking lows here. Let's see what we get. Dogecoin is how I started my intro into market. Well, my YouTube channel got really big during AMC GameStop. So I covered GameStop. I was in GameStop. I was kind of one of the first people streaming it. And so, you know, I covered it. I started streaming it. What followed was my channel started getting thousands of views prior to it, when before my channel wasn't getting that many. Before we get like 100 views, 100 watchers. After that we had thousands of watchers on the big streams, right? It's always relative to what's going on in the market. Like if something big's going on, we have more people. If something like yesterday with Tesla, we had over 1,000 people here. And so if something big's going on, we got a lot of people, but regular market streams. Anyways, back to the point. During GameStop, I bought GameStop. I was a believer in GameStop. I rode the squeeze. I streamed it. It's what initially grew my channel past like 5,000 subscribers, right? And so we grew my channel massively in that moment of time. GameStop ripped up, flew up to like 500 plus. I remember I took some profit at 500 or wherever. I can't remember exactly where it was. And when I took profit, everybody in the stream got mad at me and was like, "You're not a real supporter of the movement. You took profit. How dare you?" Right? And they got really upset. And then GameStop came right back down, and everybody that got mad at me for it looked dumb. I'm gonna try to buy this dip here. So we're gonna try to buy this dip in stocks, play with the SPY a little bit, buy this SPY dip. Let's see if we can. There we go. All right, so we're gonna try to buy this dip. I know it's a little weak, but we're gonna try to buy the bottom range. Take 75 shares, 100 shares, and maybe add a little bit more. So we got 100 shares here. I might add a little bit more to it too. Can y'all see this? I'm gonna start taking some larger stock trades here. We're gonna add some. There's 150, 200. We'll add up to maybe 350 shares, but we'll give it time to. Bottom of the range on the SPY, I think a lot of it is backed by Nvidia. Like what Nvidia does is going to be influential. I'm an idiot. I thought we had data. Yeah, I mean, we have some data. We got import-export data. It's not huge data, but it's something. All right, so we're in 250 shares of the SPY down here. Bottom range, we're going to see if we get a little pop. We'll give it time, though. Moderna 475, Wall Street Bets mods. Yeah. All right, we're in 300 shares. This will probably be max. That's not a small position. I just want to see if we bounce. We're slightly green. Nvidia falling. Yeah, I see Nvidia hitting the bottom of the range though here. Again, we're slightly green on this SPY trade. Tesla at the bottom range too. If we bounce there, then we're okay. I don't mind losing a little bit here. It's not, you know, it doesn't matter too much. I was thinking it was jobless claims, GDP day. No. It's been a slow couple weeks. We haven't had a lot of economic stuff. Oh, wait, did we have some stuff last week? I can't remember. So, again, the thing worked where I turned off auto enhancement. So now my AirPods will finally work on stream. Man, what was I about to check? Okay, we're slightly green here on the SPY. Slightly green. Man, what was I about to check? Oh yeah, did we have economic reports last week? Let me see. No, last week we just had retail sales. We had Powell speak a little bit, but that's it. You know, so this week's better. Like, our morning streams have been light. We just haven't had much go on. All right, so we're at 300 shares. How much is 300 shares in equity? Let's see what it says. 300 shares in equity, it says it's 115,000 in equity. We do have manufacturing and services PMI later. All right, what's up, Daphne? Tom Lee. Does Burry still trade? He said Tesla would take years ago. Yeah, I don't know. Hi, John. Will you buy Visa? It fell deep. Did it really? Oh my goodness. I'm looking down here. SPY is going against me, so it's kind of cracking lows. I don't want to get stuck in a big downtrend here, so I'm probably gonna have to sell my little trade. You know, this earnings season is gonna be big. I don't know if I want to add to this or not. I guess I could. Sometimes we bounce right back. I don't want to get stuck in Nvidia though, so I'm gonna limit the trade a little bit here. Nvidia just cracked lows too. What's my average? 549.17. So my average is only right here. So I think I'm just gonna stay in this with the rest. We got enough where we can play with it and see if it retraces. Yeah, knife catching. Do you think the Russell? Yeah, the Russell's been flying up. So the Russell 2000 and small cap stocks in the Russell have been having big movements. And yeah, there's Nvidia bouncing back. Would today be an out day for Tesla? Well, Tesla's already down a lot based off of its earnings report yesterday. So it depends. I don't know. It's kind of ridiculous. Why is Nvidia dropping so much on other earnings reports? I mean, this is pretty standard, Phil. So generally speaking, right? Like the first thing people have to understand about these earnings reports. So there we go. We're back basically flat here. We're 5 cents away from break even. But yeah, the first thing people have to understand is that, number one, tech stocks are influenced by each other. This is always the case, right? There's what's called sympathy is what it's called, right? So stocks move in sympathy with each other. And so what do we mean by that? We mean like the Magnificent Seven and maybe like Netflix, Tesla. You know, I know Tesla if it depends on whether Tesla's heavily weighted on the NASDAQ 100, the NQ and futures, or the NASDAQ 100 ETF, or index fund, I should say. But it's not super heavily weighted in the S&P 500. And so what do I mean by this? I mean that Tesla has an influence over some tech stocks. But we're going to get sympathy movement, especially with Nvidia, which is one of the most heavily weighted stock in every single... Nvidia is heavily weighted in everything, you know. So Nvidia is heavily weighted in The NASDAQ, it's heavily weighted in the S&P. I'm probably going to have to cut this little trade. I wanted to see if it bounced, but Nvidia's still looking weak. Let's see if we retrace. But yeah, so Nvidia is the most influential stock right now. Nvidia will move everything else. And the market's been like this for a long time. So the market has been moving with Nvidia for almost a year. Because Nvidia is one of those stocks that's up the most on the year, right? So Nvidia's up a lot on the year. It's moved up a ton this year, last year. And so the whole market follows Nvidia. If Nvidia moves down, and with that said, like going back to my original point, Tesla, Apple, Amazon, Google, they're going to influence Nvidia. Like they're going to move with Nvidia. I'm going to go ahead and cut this. I just don't trust it. I'm going to get out with a little small loss and come back to it and maybe take another trade later. I think we're just too extended. I think the downside edge is there, but it's just too risky, personally, for me. Like maybe we'll try it on the NASDAQ or something like that. So we got import-export data in 3 minutes. It's not the biggest, most influential. Yeah, no, certainly Nvidia is definitely down on Google, Tesla having a negative earnings reaction for sure. Nvidia accounting forward, accounting could be hyper accounting. Yeah. John, I don't know how you don't lose your mind with some of these questions. Well, I mean, I'm not bragging. If I say this, people think I'm bragging. I make a lot of money doing YouTube. And so, you know, money heals a lot of wounds, you know. Like, put yourself in my shoes, right? If you had this big community that makes you money and that has, like, a good group of traders that, like, you talk to every day and you watch and you kind of, you know, provide a service to, my job is to answer questions, regardless of how dumb or good the questions are. You know, that's my job, is to answer them. All right, guys, import-export prices dropping 1 minute here, 1 minute. It's not the biggest release. Again, it's kind of been a slow time. We haven't had the most reports this year. So we'll see what we get in pre-market, but we haven't had the most reports. I can actually do a Q&A. There's actually an option for a Q&A here. I don't know how to use it. Let me try to use it. So there's a Q&A option right here. Start a Q&A. Testing Q&A feature. All right, so you guys want to ask a question? Like, we're doing the Q&A feature. I'm testing it now. So there's a way for you guys to, like, ask a question, and then I can highlight said question or something. I'm not sure. I'm playing with it now. Interesting. What's the best stock in the world? Ooh, that's a good one. I like that one. I would argue the best stock in the world. All right, import-export prices just dropped. So let me cover this real quick, right? So we're going to cover this real quick, and we'll talk about that. So import-export prices just came out. I don't think it's really going to influence the market like that. But good trades balance came in at better than expected, more positive than expected. So if you don't understand the good trades balance, right? The trades balance, building permits also came out this morning. But if you don't understand what this means, right? This has to do with the ratio of imports versus exports, right? Like exporting goods, like basically the whole world using our stuff is a better, more optimistic thing for trade, okay? Us having to import more things is a worse, less optimistic thing because we're having to import other countries' things to use, right? And so that balance is what that ratio is what the good trades balance is. For June, it came in at minus 96.84 billion, which means that we are definitely importing much more than we're exporting. Much more than we're exporting. About 96.84 billion's worth. And so, yeah, it's the difference in value between imported and exported goods during the reported month. Right? So essentially, the more positive this number is, the closer to zero, the better. Right? So that means like the more we're importing versus exporting, if that makes sense. Right? And again, we'll see. Like, we'll see. We'll see what we get. All right, I'm going to buy this again. See what happens. Get ready to take a little bit of profit if we can in this. All right, anyways, going back to the Q&A feature, which I think is a pretty cool feature. How do I select the question? What's the best stock in the world? Oh, can the chat answer? SPY is the best stock. I would have to... Oh, no, it did it again. All right. All right, so we just sold some of that position. We made most of our money, or we made some of our money back in the SPY, catching this bounce. What's the best stock in the world? Number one, it's obviously a subjective thing. I would go with, personally, I'm going to go with like Apple, Amazon. What do you guys think? I would go with like Apple or Amazon as my top two, to be honest. Like if I had to buy and hold a company indefinitely, long periods of time, I'm gonna buy like Apple, you know, Amazon, like something like that. Dang it, man. See, honestly, bro, like Windows has to have some type of weird thing that makes AirPods glitch on PCs. It only happens on PCs. It doesn't happen on anything else, right? And it's very, very weird where if I use headphones, after using them for a certain period of time, massive amounts of static comes through. It's very odd, very strange. I would either, with that said though, I like Microsoft stock. Apple, Microsoft are some good options here. So yeah, Apple, Microsoft. Oh my gosh, dude, this is so freaking annoying, man. The static. Ugh. I'm gonna have to go swap my headphones out from AirPods. It's frustrating for work. Like honestly, it makes me want to buy up some other pair of headphones for my work outside of AirPods, but man, dude. I got a couple other pair of headphones too. I like SoFi stock. I'm in SoFi as well. We're gonna cover their earnings next week, but. All right, so again, we're going to try to use these headphones one more time. If they give me this weird thing, like, I did this before. When I used them before, somebody taught me how to, like, go through the Bluetooth features, find the AirPods, go to sound, go to playback, find the freaking AirPods, go to advanced. And fix it, but it's frustrating. I can try to update the driver. Okay, it says they're already installed. I'll have to go back and figure out how to stop this later. Alright, let me get the music back up. I have an issue with my Razer. If I face the screen, mic doesn't work. Okay, so how do I... So I have to pin the question? I don't know. I'm still learning how to use the Q&A. I think I pinned it. Can y'all see the current question about what's the best stock in the world? Because I pinned that. Why would Tesla earnings make Nvidia go down? So this is a good question. With that said, I'm gonna have to cut my little day trades here that I'm making on the SPY. I'm just getting punished. But somebody asked, why would Tesla earnings make Nvidia go down? The reason is because this has to do with the entire sector sympathy, right? So this has to do with the entire sector. If the sector is strong of tech stocks will follow, like the most volatile one at that period of time. So an example of this is like if Tesla has earnings and Tesla has bad earnings, considering Tesla is a tech stock, the rest of the market is going to follow said tech stock down to a certain extent. It's called sympathy movement is what it's called in stocks. It's very common. That's why we always cover these big earnings reports, right? Because the most influential stocks, we're just going to cut that. The most influential stocks are going to move the rest of the market up or down, So again, SPY broke out of this range. Nvidia's down there at 119.50s. We got Tesla down there at 224s. But yeah, so again, the point is tech stocks are going to move the rest of the market. Oh my gosh, dude. Okay, I gotta go. This is so freaking annoying, dude. I want to smash these AirPods, bro. It's not the AirPods' fault either. This has something to do with PCs specifically. It only happens on PCs. It's very, very strange. So here's a good question here. I'm gonna select this one now. In your opinion, John, do you think Nvidia will have great earnings, good earnings, or bad earnings next month? I don't know. I think there's a lot of ifs. So again, when we look at Nvidia here, Nvidia is up big on a weekly chart, but on a yearly chart, it's been sideways for a while now. It recently had a split. It's been sideways, really, I would argue, since June. So Nvidia stopped running in June, and it's essentially been sideways. Now, it hasn't really been down a ton. People like to be really sensationalist about Nvidia, but I would say this is the trend for Nvidia recently, right? Like, it's sideways still. And so if it is sideways, if it is sideways, we'll see what it means, but I don't know. We could very much be an extension, and we might not be. I don't know. I really don't. I think it's possible we have good action. It's also possible we have bad action too. So we'll see. I think Nvidia's up a lot. Still, even still, I think Nvidia's up a ton. But I think there's also risks to Nvidia. All right, guys, I got to go swap my headphones out. I will be right back. I got to go swap my headphones out. I'll be right back. All right, guys. So we got this fixed. We got this set up. All right, we're going to go. So, again, that's a pretty good question. Y'all can ask more questions here if you want. Let me get the sound back set up here. My good old Bose headphones never let me down. Yeah, stop spamming hollow. There's no issue with the release of the AirPods that makes a loud kind of scratching sound. Yeah, that's this one. My old AirPods don't work. Like, I have some old AirPods that work really, really well. All right, guys. Again, tech has dropped a lot. SPY is down big. Nvidia has been pushing down some too. Down to 119s even for Nvidia. A lot of the market's scared. A lot of tech is down. We're on the cusp of big earnings. Next week, we've got GDP data on Thursday, PCE inflation data on Friday. It's a big day, big reports. And yeah, we'll see what we get. Interesting time, I would say. Now, let's see if we get some bounce backs here. Here, can I end the Q&A? I think I need to be able to end the Q&A. Close question. Okay, so the Q&A feature seems pretty cool. I don't know how to end it. Oh, I can end Q&A. Okay. What do you think GDP will come at tomorrow? I mean, I think expectations are 1 point. GDP is expected at 2.1% according to Market Watch. So 2.1%, some people are expecting. I really don't know. This is the initial estimate, so this is where it can be the most volatile. So I really genuinely don't know about GDP, but you know, yeah, don't know. So I'm gonna end the Q&A. That's cool. I just wanted to try it out. Google, Tesla, Amazon, and other techs, yeah, down big today for sure. Yeah, and you can see we're kind of scalping the Q a little bit. We're day trading the Q here too. We bought a little dip. We're up about 25 bucks. See if we hit our level here. We got a little cushion that we can play with now. Okay, so did it fill me? Okay, it did. So yeah. All right, guys. Russell's up there. Yeah, the Russells have made some crazy big moves too, man. The small cap stocks run when big cap stocks struggle. And so big cap stocks have been struggling a lot lately, and so small cap stocks have been running, is what it's been. Yeah, I'm not buying Tesla calls. I'm not really a big options trader. You know, you got some people that just take huge option size positions ahead of earnings, and then take massive risks from it. I think that's silly and unnecessary. I'd rather just play with it normally, and just, if I'm gonna buy it, buy shares. I think options can have that big risk, big reward scenario that people want and gamble on, but I never really understood it. I'd never really take those big risks like that. Chamath Palihapitiya? Yeah, I don't know what happened to him. I'm gonna go ahead and cover and just take my little profit there and lock it in. My little baby day trade here. We're just kind of playing around. We're down like $100 day trading a day. I'm not the happiest about it, but it's not really the end of the world either. You talk about gambling once in a while. I buy puts to hedge my shares, but otherwise, no thanks. Yeah, I just think I think earnings reactions are so difficult to predict that anybody that's taken massive size ahead of earnings looking to like make money on the earnings play is straight up gambling on that play. They might not want to admit it to themselves. They might want to justify it. A lot of them, you know, a lot of people do this. They're just straight up gambling. They're just putting it big, you know. It's like them putting it on red. You know what I mean? Like there's no edge really unless you're like doing a straddle or whatever. But yeah, there's just not really any edge, and I think it's smart to just avoid those big volatile moments and come back later and ride that trend or the reaction to the trend versus trying to actually, you know, attack a specific thing there. I think it's silly and risky and unnecessary. But yeah. Alright, so we're going to get ready to do our day trading stream. Again, you shouldn't have to go anywhere. All right, so we have manufacturing and services, PMI at 10 a.m. All right, no, it's at 9:45. Yeah, so we got a little bounce back. I probably could have stayed in this a little bit longer, but I think there's too much risk, unfortunately, to you have a defined risk with options. Equity could go to 0. Well, I mean, that's assuming that you're buying options. You know, I think options are good if you don't have that much equity and you're trying to get more bang for your buck in terms of like price. Like you can get a lot more buying power with options versus shares. Like with shares, you're going to need the equity in your account to back it up. With options, you can get a lot more options positions based off of it, right? But the risk is also higher, so you're essentially risking what you're spending on that option, and it's definitely not defined. Like, you know, it's not purely defined. Like you might lose everything you invest in it. You might lose partially of your investment. You might lose, you know, back and forth there, back and forth. So it's certainly not. It's certainly not as binary as that, I guess. You know. All right, guys. We're going to get ready. We got manufacturing services PMI today. We'll see what we get. Try to redirect. There we go. Let me know, what do you guys think of the day trading streams? Do you guys like the day trading streams, dislike them? Like, it's just something we're kind of experimenting with. It's the slowest part of the year on my channel. So, like, we cover economic reports and stuff, and the market's kind of dead in terms of economic stuff. It heats back up next week, so don't worry. But this week, it's still kind of boring, you know? So, what do you guys think about the day trading streams? Do you guys like them? Dislike them? What do you guys think? Again, I think a lot of us are going to be watching Tesla and Google at the opening bell, so we're still going to cover all that stuff. Yeah, so we do have ISM. I don't know, what do we have? We have Flash services. Flash services PMI. Flash manufacturing PMI. All right, let's see what else we get. Any big announcements coming, John? John is cocky. I mean, I have a playful and sarcastic sense of humor. And one of those things I joke about is how good I am at everything. As a beginner, I appreciate the day trading streams in the question box too. Yeah, I think the question box is actually pretty useful. All right, so tech has broken down a lot. We're gonna buy 100 shares of the Q and see if we get another bounce here. I just think eventually it has to give a little bit. So we'll take 100 shares back. Where did the cocky part come from, David? Options are great if you know how to use them properly for your desired strategy. Unfortunately, most people don't use them right. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I don't ever use them right, or at least when I've played with them in the past. The maximum risk is defied, sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Can y'all hear the music? You should be able to. We had money move out of the tech sector into manufacturing, and manufacturing data is positive. Yeah, it's actually a pretty big release based off of everything. There we go. We got the Q bouncing back some. I'd like to see it bounce a little bit more. We got a couple 100 shares. So we just locked in some of the profit there. We got 50 shares left. We'll try to be patient with the rest of it. Yeah, we got a lot of scanners and stuff. I'm the number 2 trader in the US. John is number 3 on good days. Yeah, definitely on good days. On bad days, worst. That's definitely top 3 worst ever. All right, so we got this nice little move here. We're gonna go ahead and cut it, and then we got 25 shares left. We'll probably let the last 25 shares ride. I wanted to let the 50 shares ride, but you know we are approaching the 20. Is that the 20 exponential? Yeah, we're approaching the 20 exponential, and so if that rejects, you know, we'll see. Thoughts on silver breaking 33? I don't know, man. I think what's silver symbol? I always forget it. Is it SC? Silver futures. SIL. So it's SIL. Yeah. So silver currently at 29.50s. We just cut the rest of our cute little trade there. Look at Nvidia starting to bounce though. Silver at 29.50s. I think a lot of people argue that silver is a better hedge versus inflation over gold, right? Silver's had some good increases. It hasn't moved like gold though. I don't know actually percentage-wise. Silver, you know, you can't track silver's long-term trend like you can with gold, but silver's up 50% in the last 10 years. You know, so in 2014, silver was at $20 an ounce. Now it is at 30, roughly. Went up to 32s for a little bit. Bitcoin going to 0. Man, they've been saying that for years, and it hasn't happened. You know, I think the only people really saying that are people that missed out on the initial run for Bitcoin, so they're kind of mad about it. Yeah, the CrowdStrike thing kind of messed everything up. A lot of people have been saying a lot of stuff's weird. A lot of people are saying their views are down versus prior to the CrowdStrike thing. So yeah, the CrowdStrike glitch or whatever happened there kind of negatively impacted a lot of people. I think it'll be back, but yeah. All right, guys, the Q at 473s. Any recommended resources to learn the psychology behind day trading? Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas is kind of the end all be all about trading psychology for sure. You know, Trading in the Zone, Mark Douglas, genius guy, rest in peace. He's no longer with us, but you know, really smart guy. A lot of really, really good knowledge on that type of stuff. You know, every trader really, for the most part, knows Mark Douglas as one of the GOATs. So he's one of the really good people that did it. Google move seems a bit harsh. Yeah, I agree. I think Google move is down a little bit too much for me. I might actually add some to my Google position here. All right, so we added some to Google. We'll see if it treats us hard. My average price in Google was at like 140s though, so we can add and see if it helps us. But yeah, Mark Douglas, Trading in the Zone, best book. Nvidia trying to go up now. Yeah, Nvidia back up to 119s. I should put the stock market. Yeah, so we do have day futures. We're gonna get ready to trade futures. Yeah, we do have the manufacturing and services PMI data that drops. All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and end this stream and immediately go to our day trading stream, chat. So, again, we're going to end this stream, immediately go to our day trading stream. Stick around. We'll see you guys over there. And, yeah, we're going to immediately end the stream, go to our day trading stream. So, I'll see you guys over there. Y'all be good.